So, real quick, doing another quick replay review. Probably not going to be quick, but, a man can dream of Probus versus Would Tap That in NGS. These are both Div D teams. Obviously playing on Braxis. Main person I want to focus on is the Anubrak this game, played by Dragon. Of general note, just like the last time I covered Braxis and BOE, and basically any two-lane map, big thing with a stun character like this, especially because Anubrak has double stuns, you want to try and control these bushes, so that way you can step out and Q instead of engaging with E, which I've noticed. I watched the cast of this, so I know you're going to be doing that a fair amount. This bush is also important, but people check this bush. It's also just easier to kind of duck in and out without them knowing where you are in the bottom bush. Also, while you don't go regen master on one, I do like it on this map just because if you keep control of the globe spawn, then it's really easy to get that done. Like, even if they keep taking their globes and you don't get control of them, it's still pretty easy to finish the quest or get enough value out of it to justify it. Main thing you need to be focusing on is you can't step up really with a Anubrak anymore. He's lost too much of his sustain. He's been nerfed too much. And so Sylvanas and Jane can both chunk you. Obviously, spell armor, especially with your level 1, is going to help negate the Jaina damage. But if you get, say, stunned by a Stormbolt before it's up, and you get hit by, Jaina Cone of Cold into Frostbolt into auto, that's still a good chunk of your life. And so right here, when your team's kind of expecting you just to chill on point, this is actually a little dangerous for you. Li Ming and Aruba are in a good spot. Lily should be stepping further up, I feel like, especially because the blinds matter. Just on Muradin mostly, but still. Also, Sylvanas steps up. You want her in range. Yeah, so good catch there. Also, I noticed on the cast you guys are losing the fight up here. You just got to be less aggressive and kind of let the wave push in. Just accept you're going to lose this point for most of it, because I know you get picked later in this game, and when you get picked on a solo without a gank or anything on a map like Braxis, that's entirely your own fault, and you got to avoid that. That's your number one priority, because it puts massive pressure on the bot lane to pick up the slack or send someone up and then still not give up a huge advantage bot. So again, big thing, you guys are all split. You shouldn't just be sending the Anubrak to point here. Muradin's going to naturally regen health, and Anduin's also better for single target heals, as is necessary. So this is not really a fight that Anubrak wants to take. Having Raynor up here with Lily, then it changes that math. Yeah, so he gets stunned. He starts taking Sylv damage. Jaina walks up. Ian in here is, real loose. I can see why you want to do it, because you will cut one of them off and potentially get, a double or even triple stun here. But your Li Ming, which is your best chance to secure a kill, is back here. Meaning, because she doesn't have cooldowns, she can, if she's super aggressive, she can teleport and potentially, get the orb missile combo off in time. Yeah, she goes for it, and she does connect. The missiles miss. If she had thrown them here, Muradin is dead. Anduin would have been chunked. But yeah, it's not that you can't do it, it's that it's just really risky. Because if you miss even one of them, they'll have the damage to just turn around and kill you. With the root here, also that was a good cue from your Raynor. You could have potentially just gotten blown up And if you did, and because you didn't get a kill on the exchange, that would have been not so great. What do we take? Data barbs, that's fine. Again, you shouldn't just be hanging out here, like, alone. There's no point. If they're going to retake this, they're going to retake it with at least 3. And it's just free damage. Same thing checking bush here, like, there's no point. Just save your mana. So you have this tendency to keep popping spell armor like whenever they step up. And while sometimes it's okay to preemptively do that, a lot of times it's putting you in a position where it's just on cooldown if you want to try and actually get value out of it. So just something to be more aware of. Wait until they kind of step up to engage. It's all low enough cooldown, it's not the end of the world, but it's just something good. I talk right through that, so let's just back up a minute. So this is good. Great Q. I can't believe we got 4 of them. Good job on their part for making it real easy. Li Ming's making it real hard on herself because she apparently hasn't backed or tapped with actual Nomad, and she already tapped. Jeez, that's rough. So yeah. I think you can potentially get more done here, but with Li Ming and having basically 0 mana, it's just not going to happen. Good E follow-up, good attacks, good focus, Jaina dies. Again, yeah, I think if Li Ming has, say, 20% mana, she can follow up and maybe look for another kill, 20 or 30%. Also, I don't know why she's chasing this way. The only person low is Zilla, and again, doesn't have any mana. So, like, why bother? If anything, you want to try and scare off the Sylvanas, like, who's, like, still just teeing off on a new Breck. But really, you just need to back. Like, you just got to kill. This is your opportunity to back. Oh. The globes are fine, but... yeah, there it is. That's what I knew was coming. Again, this is just... you should have backed already, but again, like... you just can't take any real engage like this, especially if you don't have a globe up. With this low mana. You're just going to run after the first chunk of cooldowns. Yeah, then you do back, which is good. But I kind of wish you had done that beforehand. You guys get super lucky and save it at the last possible second. So, of note, you guys sent a Nubrak up here. And I guess that was to let bot hearth. And that's okay. Otherwise, you usually don't want to send the tank up here. Because, say, like, Li Ming and Imperius can actually get a ton of damage. Or threaten to kill someone. But a Nubrak and Imperius don't really have enough... they have a lot of stuns, but they don't really have enough damage to kill a Yrel or a Murden. Unless they majorly screw up and, like, overstay. Yeah, see, look how many times you guys stunned him or slowed him. What was it, 3 stuns in a row in, like, 3 seconds? And you're still hitting him, and he just walks away. Like, yeah. It's a cute trick, but the beetle's going to give you away regardless. The weird Q. This is also a little dangerous for you, especially because you just threw out the Q. Like, your good buttons cost a fair bit of mana. So essentially, you can't even, if they were up, you couldn't impale and then burrow charge with the mana you have right now. So something you got to be aware of. Especially when you're stepping up this late and you have no buttons. Yeah, Sylvanas just teeing off. So this is kind of wild. Like, he's still shooting wave here. Like, unless Aruba's going to come up or try and flank or something, you need to back off. This is not a good fight for you guys. You're just taking free damage, and you really can't afford to be with this much mana and health. Nubarak, is, especially since, like, the 3 nerfs in a row, just doesn't have the kind of sustain to stay in these extended fights. You really want them over quickly. You want an advantage, or you want to, you know, throw out your engage attempt and then realize it's not going to work and E out. So yeah, like, you impale and now you just have no more mana. That's the other thing. You got to be really careful with your impales. You can't just keep throwing them out like this when you're low on mana. You have to line up a good one. And again, it goes back to, can my DPS follow up if I do hit the Q? Like, Li Ming can, potentially, but your Rainer's not here, so it means your chance of getting a kill off a good Q is non-existent. And it also means, because you don't have the mana to follow up with Burrow Charge, you can't, like, you could potentially, like, get a kill, no problem, on a Janitor Sylvanas with just these 3, but without the mana for the follow-up stun, it's much, much harder. Yeah, so you do back up. That's fine. You just full W build? Not fully, but I don't know. See, again, you're just stepping up and you're just taking a lot of free damage. They can actually punish you much harder here. But Jane is in the wave getting 1v1 by Raynor, which is good. Why are we dead? Good cleanse. Really good cleanse. No! Why? Why do you E back in? Come on, man. Lily just did all that work saving you. Like, you get stunned. By all rights, you should have been dead there. You get the cleanse and the heal. Then you E back in, miss the stun. And I guess you guys can potentially collapse on Murden, but when this Sylvanas comes back up and tees off on you, you're going to probably die. That was actually closer to a kill on Murden than I expected, so that's good. Also, Sylvanas was like, nah, I don't want any of this. But that was not a great E use. Are you going to E in here? I feel like you are. I feel like I'm about to see it. Which is okay if you hit the E and then a Q right after, and your DPS is up here and able to follow up instead of down here. Li Ming might be able to hit a max range orb. Oh, good, you just Q'd. That's actually much better than what I would have wanted to see, so that's great. But again, your DPS are backing out at this point, so no bueno. So you have to E back. You could potentially just walk back, honestly, but yeah. Good orb. So they're pretty chunked at this point. Your tap's not up for a bit. You walk into Stormbolt. Take some damage. Good Q. Do you get the kill here? Oh, you just missed the E. Oh, and then the rest of their DPS. I was wondering where these guys were. And they just showed up. Yeah. Unfortunate. So I don't blame you for televisioning this one. Because even if you E in, you're probably going to just die to these two. But, I think it was worthwhile. Oh, Lily dies. Okay, so they kill Lily. And you live instead. Okay. Again, you W, and Jaina had already thrown a button. And she's just going to have all her good buttons for when your shield's down. Like, you also, because you threw that Q right there, and again, your DPS are down here, they're not going to have a chance to follow up. Because you throw the Q, you won't have the E to escape. And that's what you want to do, you want to E out to escape. So this is a totally preventable death. I guess you could argue, like, by just sitting there, you guarantee the last 2%, but it doesn't really matter. It's not like other objectives where you can have 39 on shrines and then you lose the whole thing if the other team gets 40. Like, yeah, no, this is just not worthwhile. Okay, so Praxis Wave. You guys have decent clear. You run up. They don't push with it. They're just clearing their own. This is really interesting since both of you had such large waves. Uriel gets, like, negative value by being here, too. Like, smart for them for realizing they can't do anything and, like, backing out. I would have loved to see them stay in the wave and you just E in and then they die. Okay. Are we not? We're not doing bruisers? But there were 3 of you up here. Why didn't we just do bruisers? Okay, we're still not doing bruisers. Okay, so we take siege. Oh, we get invaded? Also, what were we doing up here? Like, was there a reason we were leaving? I'm not quite clear. So you're leaving super dead, unless they really messed this up. And they really messed this up. So that's good. Okay, you Ian. But there's 5 of them and there's 3 of you. And your Li Ming's going to be late. Yeah, so you may save her by doing that? Question mark. You get a good Q, you try and walk out. You get the cleanse preemptive, and then they just body block you and kill you. Yeah. So you basically trade your life for Lily's, which is, you know, it's kind of whatever. It's kind of even. The reality is, though, this was just a bad camp to take. You guys should have just taken this one for free while you guys were up there. And there's 0 chance of you getting invaded. Also, the fact that no one was checking this bush or anchoring this bush was bad. Like, that was the thing. If you're going to take this camp, then one of you needs to be here. That way, if they try and invade with 10s, you guys can leave, like, instantly. What? What? Hold on, back up. What? What just happened? So Sage is here alone. You guys all rotate up. Do you just queue in? What? Why? What are you doing? Just queue this way. You can't 1v4. Like, with a camp no less. Like, this is not gonna happen. So they just, yeah, they stun you and just tee off on you. That was a good cocoon. And they still get the kill, yeah. Or I should say this is not a useful cocoon except in the sense of like trying to save this guy. But I mean, you did what you could. It is what it is. Eating back is super dangerous here. Because the fort's not going to help you and it's 5v4. The only upside you have going for you is they used buttons, but it turned out they only used water Ellie, so they still have all their buttons. They can just fight you right here, and they should. Like, Anduin right now should just pop Salvation and they should just turn on you guys. Like, Salvation, like, walk here, pop Salvation, like, pump these guys up, and they should just finish taking fort and fight you guys. Uriel has the right idea. But it looks like they're split on whether or not they want to stay and fight, and the majority wants to run. So this works out for you, but this shouldn't have. They should have stopped, popped their buttons, and fought you with their advantage. The other thing is, like, you have Hyperion, you're going to have Wave of Force, you had Wave of Force, rather, and you have Jugs. And their buttons are just better. Like, Sacred Ground plus Holy Word Salvation, there is no way they should lose this fight. Just none. Like, as long as they stagger these uses, there's no way they should lose this fight to you guys. So 100% a better team just kills your fort and wipes you all. And then you probably lose keep wall. So just a heads up there. Like, this is not how it should have gone. They should have, like, popped buttons, turned on you, and killed all of you. They didn't even get fort. That's, oh my, that's ridiculous. That is 100% a huge pump by them. Oh, hey, look, your Lily and your Li Ming. Oh, God, great replay. Thank you, Blizzard. Okay. So when you're trying to retake this, best thing you can do is pick an angle. First off, scout the bush if you can. Like, ideally, Li Ming does this because she has the lowest cooldown to do so in magic missiles. And then either you want to go in here and lure them kind of toward you and then have your 3 come up through here. But that's soft Jaina, who can dump all her buttons. But she doesn't seem like she waits, so she probably just pops them all on you. Just something to be aware of. Or you can have Li Ming like here throwing stuff. And then like Raynor and Nubrak Lily step up here. And Li Ming's safe and can just kind of tee off if they fight on point. But, like, yeah, as it stands, you guys are too split. Like, this is another case of where you're standing in a position where if they realize your team is not with you, and while they don't have vision of your team, they know, unless they're here, they know they're not in range to help you. They can just step up and tank, you know, just shoot you for free. And they take, like, 2/3 of your life. And now they forced you to use a tap or back. And used a tap, yeah. So what you want to look for here is something like this. You've seen blizzards down. You guys want to step up, cocoon, and then go fight them. Like, ideally, like, you cocoon, and you see Anduin or Jaina somewhere, and you go get them. And in this case, we know where Jaina is. She's here. So yeah, if you just step up and, like, cocoon Sylvanas here, this is a great fight for you guys. Or if you had Eden and gotten Sylvanas, if you were worried she was going to try and, like, jump out, like, you could have Eden and then gotten her, and you guys could definitely, like, step up and take that fight. Like, that's the point of Cocoon, is you turn that 4v4 into a 4v3, and because they have no quick way to clear the Cocoon, you guys will probably win that fight, or at least force them to back enough that you can just pop Sylvanas when she gets out with Li Ming damage. Again, this is like the 4th time this has happened. I don't know if they're just telling you to go take point or you're doing this of your own accord, but, like, taking point without your team is useless. It does not help. You're just going to take a lot of free damage if the other team knows what's going on. Like a Nubrak, you can't really do that. Murden has his own self-healing. A noob, like I said, doesn't have the real sustain to do that anymore. You don't want to get chunked out, especially if you want to use E as an engage. Stormbolt, you go in, you Q. And again, like, this isn't entirely your fault, but you have to, like, use your Qs with more discrepancy. Like, you got you hit 4 heroes with that Q. And you got, like, no other value, or 3 heroes, rather. Like, and you got, or was it 4? Whatever. The point is you hit basically all of them with your Q, and that was it. There was no follow-up, so all you did was annoy them for, you know, half a second. Or, sorry, 1 full second. My apologies. So this is a really weird Cocoon. So you get the Cocoon there, and this fight is still good, because you're, you know, around. And you see Jaina's isolated. So what you want to do is, like, step down and E and cut her off, and then you guys should go kill her. The worst thing that happens is you split off, they split off, and, like, Jaina manages to get away. Wow, she just wanted to take the 1v1 there. That's wild to me. Like, I know Li Ming has no buttons, but man, that is, like, zero respect for you guys. All it takes is 1 E and a body block, and your team should be able to kill her, no problem. Like, that's... So instead you guys get nothing off that because you E'd, the force of repulsion knocked her away, and she just walked back. That's, yeah, see. So that's just a waste of cocoon. And because you guys use so many buttons in that fight, you really can't step back up. Or you shouldn't be able to step back up here. And again, we just see the same problem. You're all the way up in there. Your team's back here. And these guys can just shred you. And they do. Like, that was 100% your own fault. You can't step that far up with a Nubrak. Like, if you are 100 Souls Diablo and you fire stomp, like, you say you queue in and there's 3 of them there and Jan's over here or whatever, and you fire stomp and you pop Soul Shield, okay, that's fine. You have, like, 6,000 health and 75 spell armor. Yeah, they're not going to do anything to you. The Nubrak has 3,000 health and at most 40 spell armor. Like, and this is a Sylvanas. Like, they're just gonna rip into you. Like, and she's actually stacking alright. And yeah, you're just gonna get ripped apart. And again, I don't know why your team just refuses to, like, assist you in these situations, but, like, they are playing so far back, and while that makes sense for the Li Ming, especially because she's, you know, orb build, which has its own issues, but whatever. If they're good with it, they're good with it. But, like, there's no excuse for, like, the Rainer to be, like, shooting wave while you're trying to engage. This is, like, either a comms error, in which case this Rainer player doesn't understand that you're stepping right up into him, or you're just taking your own initiative and he's like, oh, what is happening? And then he's just late to the party every time. Your Lily also playing really far back for a character who has fast feet, and can basically, with fast feet and a blind, can just run out of, like, the majority of situations. Even coordinate play, Lily's really annoying to kill unless she gets CC'd. And that's basically only Stormbolt. Because if you get hit by the root with Anduin, with a fast feet Lily, you deserve what you get. Okay, so you guys lose point. Is what it is. You fight, you back off. Lily dies because you guys done a good job of healing. Almost every time this happens, it's because the team stays too long and protects, like, a fort, which just isn't viable. And you just retreat too slowly. So, I mean, it's kind of whatever. Every team does it. What is this Li Ming? Again, like, where's her mana? It seems like every other time I look at her, she's 20% or below. Like, this is a huge problem. And I understand the build's going to run out of mana quickly, depending, but it's bad. Like, she's useless. Actually useless in this situation. Cherry has low wave clear, and now you're just saying she can't do anything else. You can't do anything here. Please don't tell me you step back up into this. You should have been like Li Ming and Hearth. Like, she'll walk back here and Hearth in immediately. You just can't do anything. You're a Nubrak and you have no follow-up. Like, you can make beetles and they're gonna do nothing. I mean, you got the mana to burn, so I don't... Man, it's whatever. But... yeah, you should have just Hearthed instead of tapping. Like, the wall was going to buy you the time anyway. And then if you came out early, then you could have tapped and you would have been at full with a little extra. This is wild, by the way, that the Imperius didn't back for this. Like, you guys can lose the game here. I don't understand why you don't have all 5 here. Like, you guys can just lose. Especially as soon as Lily died. Like, 100% this guy needs to be getting somewhere safe and backing to help. So how do you win this? Well, ideally, one of them steps out of position. You get a cocoon. And you get to kill someone. Because if you don't get a pick, I don't know how you save this unless they run away. Like, by all rights, guys should probably just lose right now. So they jump in, and they get on Nubrak, and they kill him. And the Lily's running away. And that's it. It should be game. And by the way, Imperius is still top. You guys are literally losing the game. Imperius is still top. Also, I don't really blame you for dying there because with the Nubarak, it's very hard to make things happen as a tank player. Because if you dive in there into the Zerg wave, especially with the buffs to some of these guys, like the Hydras and all these guys can just nuke your health. They shouldn't be leaving here. They should just be looking to end. So you get a reprieve. Also, your Imperius is completely oblivious at this point. Like, as soon as they leave here, he has to realize he's gonna die. Like, there's no reason, there's nothing else on the map for them to do except try and gank Imperius and take top for it. There's nothing else. So, once they leave here, he needs to know, but if he's busy and he's not looking at his minimap, somebody needs to tell him, hey, they're gonna come for you. Because this guy's 100% dead now. So you're going to lose Imperius and Fort. That's that. And I can understand not wanting to go for boss here. Because one of the only ways they can throw this game from this position instead of just gaining 16 is like giving you a chance to fight them and throwing on boss. So I respect this. All you guys can do at this point is safe soak. Imperius is arguably not even allowed to be here. Because if Murden like sneaks in here and like jumps out and stuns him, and you run 4 through here and they jump out. Or the same thing with the Urelf. The Urel's here and jumps out and like hammers him back. This is a kill. So, like, arguably Imperius shouldn't even be allowed to, like, step out this far to, like, soak. Not without the group. So you probably just want to, like, clear this as quickly as possible and move as a death ball. Yeah, because you have no vision. Not until the camp gets taken. This is a really bad split. Again, there's nothing really for them to do. And if they move in as 5 and jump you from one of the bushes and you don't escape, that's game. 100% that's game. That's kind of wild that Soul just shows there instead of them trying to set something up. Oh, they just go boss. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they can. It's not a lot of risk. Okay, let me slow this down. So let's back up. Let's back up since this is likely the end of the game. So again, this is what I was saying about being way out here and how they have characters that can just jump out and get you. So that's a good... So you stunned him, you got out. Lily doesn't dodge the Stormbolt. Just walk through it. Just walk through the Blizzard. It's not that big a deal. You take about as much damage from the Burden than the second Blizzard wave anyway.
Make haste toward the beacons. They're up and running.
Okay, here's what you want to be doing. You want to coordinate with your team. You want to like step up, Q, potentially E in the back line, or you want to step up, cocoon basically anyone. Cocoon one of the frontliners, E in, Q, and then again, you really need your Li Ming and Rainer to step up here and try and kill these guys if you do. But they're stepped up so far, you could potentially get them. I don't think you can because Cleanse and Salvation are up, but that's your shot. The third option with Cocoon is you try and get sneaky and you step up. Your team steps up. You Q, you E, and go after Anduin the backline cocoon. And they'll probably all turn and kill you, but it buys time for them to step up and also kill them. But the problem is, like, again, Yrel has this. Yeah, she has Sacred Ground. So she can just tank the Li Ming damage if she wants. Just stand in front of the orb, and the rest of your heroes do nothing. So yeah, this is just really bad for you guys. I don't really see a good engage opportunity, at least for you, unless they really make a mistake. And they do. They back off, but they leave the Muradin to die. So that's great. Good. That was huge. That was big. And yeah, and there's exactly. You stun the guy, and then you get the Anduin in the back, and you die, but they have to use Wailing Arrow to confirm the kill. Oh, but you guys are split. You're so split. Raynor can't be back here. Raynor needs to be, like... He should already been, like, moving over here, but he should be here. Like, this is where Raynor should be. This is where Raynor is. Like, should have been here already and, like, shooting these guys. Or, like, moving up and around. Li Ming almost dies? Jesus. Okay. So you end up saving, but now you're going to lose both points. Yeah. This is the downside about playing Braxis now. It's just like, yeah. I don't really know. Because you guys...
I knew this was a reckless plan.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing much you can do there. Like, it's not your fault they get it at that point. Like, once your team allows yourself to get in that big a hole, then you're really just relying on your opponents to really screw up. I think your only real out there was when they screwed up on boss, you guys chased. And like I said, if you had positioned better, the chase would have been easier. But you chase and potentially get more kills. And you just let boss have keep. Which sucks, but that's the only way. Because if you get kills there, and then you guys get that wave, that gives you momentum and a chance to push. Because you're not going to win with what you ended up doing, which was just clearing everything. And then they got the full 100% Zerg wave. Like, Zerg wave plus their full push is just going to be too much. Yeah. Okay, so general rules, not rules, general takeaways. General takeaways for that. One, you guys didn't fight around bot bush at all or in the wave when the point wasn't up. You really should with the new rack. It's really good. Second thing you can do is Li Ming can be here. Again, as long as you safely control this bush, she can kind of just stay here and just chuck in orbs and magic missiles all day and just punish anyone who has to stand here. And it'll add up. But yeah, you can't be just chilling on point, especially with only a Lili for healing. You're just not the kind of tank built for that. You don't have the sustain. So what happened a lot of times is you'd force your way on a point and they chunk you down and force you back off, or they just kill you. And with a new rack, you really want to go in for quick engages with your buttons and just using your buttons to buy time because your DPS are out of position and can't follow up, doesn't help. Or like, sometimes they are just clearly doing something else and not expecting to engage on anyone, and you would just blast through a couple buttons, and you don't have the mana pool to just keep throwing out Qs and Es all the time. There are many times where, like, if you had more mana, you either potentially survive or you definitely survive because you can burrow charge. Your Li Ming, on like not a new rack note, just way too low on mana. Just not enough potential resets. She has to position herself in such a way to try and get resets. Otherwise, you just aren't winning this game. Final note, like, your solo lane really seemed to need help. I don't know if you guys could have pulled anyone, but I mean, toward the mid game, I feel like you could have at least tried a 3-2 because clearly the 4-1 was not working super well. A new Brack only note, like, you guys have to practice around getting value out of Cocoon, or don't take it. It's really, like, you had one good Cocoon the entire game, and the rest were either you didn't go in on engages where you could have gotten Cocoon and then fought with a hero advantage, or they just weren't very good, or they just weren't done. So, yeah, something to keep in mind. Okay, hope that helps.